بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum, my beloved sons and daughters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we are going to take the rulings Q&A session about the mahsur. A quick reminder: there's masdood, the barred; mahsur, the restricted or restrained, or due to some circumstances he cannot continue. Both of them, they have entered the state of ihram. One is barred due to his problems in documentation and visa, whatever reasons. It's a legal and problem with the authority. He cannot enter Jeddah. He cannot enter Mecca. Maybe he slipped from the Istanbul airport or any other airports, and he entered the state of ihram with nadhr and did the du'as and whatever, and now he got slipped from there. Jeddah airport. Now your documentations are not complete. Let's say he did du'as and slipped from them. Then checkpoint of Makkah control. That sometimes there are checkpoints, they are controlling the documents. Are you really on Hajj visa? That means, have you paid that huge amount of the Hajj, or no, you're coming cheap like on Umrah visa or tourist visa? So they check the document of the foreigners. And if you slip there, khalas, congratulations, you are in. But if all these checkpoints and they catch you and you are in the state of ihram, so what to do? And you may be, God forbid, detained or held or sent back. Most of the cases you are sent back to your home country. So you can't, you are in the state of ihram. You need to get rid of that ihram. So you need to slaughter the same place you're detained or you're stopped or you're barred. If it's not possible, then go in the state of ihram back to your country, and there you can slaughter. But you are in the state of ihram. Whatever you do is going to be violation of the ihram. So once you go there, you slaughter and you clip off your hair, and what happens that you exit the state of ihram. But I did not do tawaf, and that's fine. These are exceptional cases narrated in our Islamic texts, that mentioned in our Islamic text, that these people, they can get out of this. Otherwise, they will be stuck entire life with this state of ihram. And it's not just the dress, it's perfume, this, that, women, a husband, all those kind of things which are necessities of life. You will be barred from it. So and then the question was in our previous session, that is it like one should slaughter first or shave off first? Whatever you do, but exiting the state of ihram will be done by both. Remember? So therefore, even if you clip off your hair and do that, but still the sacrifice needs to be done. The the animal should be sacrificed. And then you are out of your ihram. We mentioned these details previously. So that's why I'm just not going to repeat what was said before. If you have any questions or something, first go back to our main main text of Manasik and Hajj. We explained about the mahsur, and check out if your answer is not there and not in this session, then you can email me or WhatsApp me or send me a message, and inshallah we'll try to elaborate that. So now today we are going to discuss the Q&A session about the mahsur, the one who is the most obvious example we have seen is heart attack. God forbid, if somebody arrives Jeddah with the ihram, or he goes from Juhfa with the ihram, he entered the state of ihram, he's now muhrim, and or Medina al-Munawwara, he gets into the state of ihram and he says labbaik Allahumma, and the hyperbolic irfani attack comes and my heart, so, and then anyhow, so whatever reasons, he gets heart attack. Not necessarily hyperbolic, he must have eaten a lot of chunks and stress and whatever are cause and factors of heart attack. That happens. So what happens? They will take him immediately from miqat to, not graveyard, no, still he's alive, from miqat to the hospital. So For heart patients in such condition, minimum requirement to stay is 5 days to stable the heart. They cannot let him go in such conditions. So let's say his stability of the heart, the days they told are that he's going to miss the Arafat, Muzdalifah, Hajj, whatever. So now what? So this is what we call it mahsur. Okay. He's not barred, but his condition does not allow him to continue. Okay. So here we have this mahsur. And in the case of mahsur, what happens? He sends his sacrifice if he had sacrificed. Otherwise, he asks people to slaughter. I mean, he must have come with people or something like that. So some of them, they will carry on, and he tells them, please sacrifice on my behalf in there, so that in Makkah, okay, so that I can get out of my ihram. I can exit my the state of ihram here, because he's in the bed hospital and he is and they want to jab him, poke him. Obviously those are necessities, but he might need certain things like bed bath, for example, okay, and shampoo and all the, I mean, he can tell them, please don't use shampoo, this, that, but there's 25 restrictions, and he is now in the state of ihram, and there they might put a gown, stitched gown on his body. So he needs to get out of the ihram. So what will happen, that someone is going to slaughter, even if the caravan did not go, the caravan leader might have some people in Makkah tell them to just please get a goat and slaughter on behalf of this person, and he can clip and shave, and he exits the state of ihram. So here's the thing. So if someone enters the question number one, whoever enters Makkah in the state of ihram for Umrah Mufrada, after that, he became sick. And he was not, but he entered Makkah. Once you enter Makkah, that's a different story. Then the rules of Mahsur does not apply. So what would apply? If you're unable to perform the tawaf and sa'i by yourself, and your visa will end, or your caravan will leave, or for certain reasons, you are not going to be able to perform the tawaf after exiting the state of ihram, after exiting the hospital or exiting your condition, okay? You don't have any prognosis of getting better before the caravan leaves, then you will appoint a representative on your behalf, okay? So to perform the rulings of Naib, because you're in Makkah. So the question is, if someone enters Makkah, number one. Number two, for Umrah Mufrada. Number three, hyperbolic health attack, any health condition encounters in which which prevents him to perform the manasik of Umrah. Number four, he's unable to stay longer than the period he came due to his visa restrictions or caravan restrictions or whatever. The question says, is he going to chop the goat and clip his hair and exit the state of ihram, mahsur, or no, he's going to appoint a representative? He said, hukmul istinaba. Once he's in Makkah, he can appoint a representative. Please do these things on my behalf. You see? Okay. Then he can clip his own hair. He's in Makkah. So he can exit the state of ihram. And if he can do the sa'i and some of the things which are less strain or less thing, or perhaps 2 rakat salah, he goes in the haram, but he can't do tawaf, but he can do 2 rakat salah. Anyhow, so he can represent somebody and he can do things, whatever he can. Okay, that's the rules of niyabat. He doesn't have to go give entire thing. Yes, if he was hospitalized, then the rules of niyabat, entire niyabat. But still he's in Makkah. Question number two. Someone entered the state of ihram of Umrah al-Mufrada. Okay. And he entered Makkah. So he's performing, number one, Umrah Mufrada. Number two, he is in Makkah. However, now he cannot perform the tawaf. Why? That condition happened. Okay. That hyperbolic attack or something like that. Oh, Kaaba, my heart, and something like that. So therefore, now there is, I mean, looking at the Kaaba creates a kind of different feeling. People, they cry. Fine. But why do I say hyperbolic? The extra, he's extra emotional person and he can't tolerate, he can't handle, and he faints down. Okay. So therefore, hyperbolic irfani doesn't mean that it's negative always. Sometimes it can be positive. So therefore, he got this awe of looking at the Kaaba and the majestic of this place. And it happens to most of those with pure heart. They enter the Kaaba, they see the Kaaba, their tears start to flow. I've seen it with my eyes. But he fell down, whatever happened, they took him where? To Jeddah. And his condition becomes worse. They take him to his hometown. Wait, I need to do. No, you're going back to your hometown. Your family doesn't want you to die here. Go back. They want to surround you there. I mean, a case like that happened. We went to one of the Mashahid al-Musharrafa ziyarat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open the gates of ziyarat back again. All the mu'mineen, they are blessed to do ziyarat. So they went to ziyarat. We were there, and one HAJJ, elderly person, amazing person, rahmatullah alayh. Did he die there? No. He got heart attack there. We have to take him to hospital, and the doctors, they say, I mean, this is a serious heart attack. So we told the HAJJ, what do you want to do? He said, take me back home. Okay. If I alhamdulillah, did ziyarat and got the blessings of the shrine of Ma'soom alayhi salam. Now, if I leave this world, at least I can be with my family. I cannot say stay or leave. It's not in my hand. I cannot say, oh, do dua, we'll do dua. But what do you want? Because those people, they are nobody likes to die in wilderness away from his beloved ones. It's Gharib al-Ghuraba, Imam Rida alayhi salam. What a difficult condition for his family members in Medina all the way to Khurasan. It is Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam. Ahl al-Bayt, they were habitants of Medina al-Munawwara. They were taken in migration to these lands of Iraq and Iran due to the surveillance purposes and oppression. So that's why, otherwise, their city of their great-grandfather, Medina al-Munawwara, was their precious place. And many of them, they were martyred there. And Bani Hashims were there in Medina al-Munawwara, the family, the clan of Bani the Hashimites and their relatives. So remember Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the ghurbat of Imam Hussein, Imam Rida alayhi salatu wasalam, at least he was surrounded by many of his companions, and he was in a peace. Yeah, he was gharib, except for even Ma'sooma salamullah, his sister wanted to come, and she was martyred in the middle of the way. So therefore, Imam Rida alayhi salam, Gharib al-Ghadariya, Gharib al-Ghuraba, all those Ghuraba, because he's the farthest from Madinah al-Munawwara. And Imam Hussein, Gharib Karbala, Gharib al-Ghadariya. So because who was with Imam Hussein from his family members, all the Hashimites were in Madinah al-Munawwara. Closest family member were with him in Karbala. And at the end, he is remained alone. Okay, alone. Gharib, al-Ghadiriya, lonely, no one around him except his women and children, and they were in desperate condition. He can't help them even. So see the ghurbat of our aimah. So no one would love to be away from his family member in his last moments of life. There are a few, they would not mind to be away from their family members. Number one, either the family members are horrible, they treated them horrible, or whatever reasons, or he was horrible to them, or whatever. So he said, let me just die away from him. That's some of those whom I saw, they have this kind of situation. Another group, no, if they die beside one of the Ma'sooms or Makkah al-Mukarrama or Medina al-Munawwara, that is one of the amazing things that could happen to them. So there are people like they don't mind. They say, my Imam Hussein was Gharib, let me be with him. Okay, let my soul be with this, the Karbala, my body with this, or Imam Rida alayhi salam. So therefore, so this person, he is taken, he got heart attack in Makkah al-Mukarramah. He did not even start his tawaf and he's taken. Okay. And the authorities, they say, you want your family or you want Makkah? He said, no, I want my family. Okay, then let's take you back to your hometown in family, because you might not have enough chances to live. So, and he could not stay for completing the Umrah, even by niyabat. So what should he do? Does he stay in Makkah? Okay. Sorry. Does he appoint someone to do on his behalf and he's in his hometown? Or the ruling of one who is restricted due to the sickness or restrained due to the sickness will be applied. So remember one technical point. In the previous ruling, we said, no, okay. Yeah, but the guy stayed in Makkah. He was in hospital in Makkah, wherever he was in Makkah. And the Naib is going to perform the Amal and he is in Makkah. There are certain manasik al-Hajj. If you appoint a representative, you need to be in the same area. Certain Amal, certain manasik. Like I said, some of the Maraja, they say, if someone is going to appoint a representative to stone on his behalf, that person needs to be in the area of Jamarat. Not say this is SISTANI Damadullah. Other Maraja, they have this condition. That the person, it's not just, oh, you throw on my behalf. No, if you are able to come Mina with me, like the guy who throws like, doesn't shoot like far. But okay, you are mashallah, yes, your hands, your sickness is not, but you can come. We take a taxi and arrive there and we'll walk a little bit. If you can come, you have to come. Other Maraja say this is time, says no. Once you gave representation, then the representative can do if you are unable to. And we said there are two kinds of inability to stone, inability to be that place due to the crowd. He can stone, but he cannot in the crowd. For that, we said, if you can find another time, less crowd, do it by yourself. That's peculiarity. Okay. So here we have, so what is the ruling? The guy is in hometown, UK or wherever, you see, Pakistan, wherever. He's not in Makkah. So can he appoint someone to do the manasik of Umrah on his behalf, or his rule will be the ruling of the restraint due to sickness? Ayatollah Sistani Damatullah says, no, the ruling will be the ruling of someone who's restrained out of sickness, like Mahsur. Like the Naib can do the sacrifice in Makkah on his behalf, and then he can clip off his hair and he's out of the ihram. Question number 3. Now this is like we said one in the miqat got restrained. Then the next step was he came into Makkah and got restrained due to the sickness. Now furthermore, question number 3 says during the tawaf, okay, like he did some rounds, some tawaf, and he got, oh my heart, and he was taken back to his hometown. So what will be his responsibility? So here we have some room to fix, not necessarily the rules of Mahsur. Why? Because he initiated the tawaf. But the question is, how many rounds you did? Remember, Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah has been completing 4th round, then continue. Before completing the 4th round, redo the whole thing. So his answer, if this health condition encountered him after completing the fourth round, then he says just appoint a representative to complete the remaining rounds and to do the sa'i, two rakat of salat, complete the na'ib, the representative completes the remaining rounds, three rounds were left, and also he does the sa'i. And what about salat al-tawaf? It says he must perform salat al-tawaf after the na'ib completes the tawaf. So after the na'ib completes the tawaf, he must what? He must perform the tawaf, 2 rakat tawaf. And then after the sa'i between Safa and Marwa, he appoints someone, representative, to do the يقصر بعد سعيه. So after the so two things he says here. ويأتي هو بصلاة الطواف بعد طواف النائب. So, and remember, in this case, the hypothesis is that he's back home, not behind Maqam Ibrahim. So after the tawaf, okay, he goes where? After the tawaf, the na'ib, I mean the sick one, he prays 2 rakat. And then the na'ib performs the sa'i, Safa and Marwa. After the sa'i of the representative, he clips the hair or shaves the head. And then the na'ib, representative, does tawaf al-nisa. So you see the sequence here, one after another. Tawaf, the representative does, he does the 2 rakat salah. Sa'i, the representative does, he clips the hair or shaves his head. And the tawaf al-nisa, the representative does, and also the 2 rakat tawaf al-nisa is done by the person. Okay? And then he is out of his ihram. This is what after the 4th round. The peculiarity here is different than all the rules we saw. Salat al-tawaf must be behind Maqam Ibrahim. He has been sent to his hometown. فَأُرْجِعَ إِلَى بَلَدِهِ. So that's why you see this intermittent things. Tawaf, 2 rakat tawaf, the sick one. Sa'i, obviously shaving off the head, the clipping of the hair will be by the sick one. And then tawaf al-nisa by the representative and 2 rakat. The 2 rakat tawaf doing there in his hometown can be a question to those who follow some other maraja. They say, isn't it must? So why shouldn't the na'ib do the 2 rakat tawaf? Some might say the na'ib does, the representative, and that guy does in hometown. فَيَحِلُّ مِنْ إِحْرَامِهِ. This is after the 4th round. However, if it was before the 4th round, then before the 4th round, he's in Mecca. So he's exiting the state of Ihram. He's in Ihram. He went to his hometown. He needs to come back to Mecca to get himself out of his Ihram. Before 4th round, that means Tawaf was not done. He says, ulamas, they have the argument here. But for me, most closest opinion, like there are several opinions. Closest opinion, there are opinions. So it's not Sayyidi Sistani's opinion, it's one of those opinions. So which one is the closest to you, Sayyidina? The closest to me is appoint a representative. Okay? Appoint a representative. He has been taken hometown. So again, in the representation, should it be done the way we did for the 4th round, after the 4th round? Yes, the difference would be that here the representative would do the entire tawaf, not complete the tawaf. Question number 4. Now remember, one of the duties of the restraint due to the sickness is to slaughter in Makkah, okay? To slaughter the sacrifice in Makkah. So if the sick person realized that the one whom he sent him to slaughter on his behalf in Makkah did not slaughter, and he had clipped his hair to exit the ihram, okay? They exited the ihram. So, so the slaughtering did not happen, and he clipped the thing to. He thought that it was done. He clipped the hair or shaved off his head, and then realized no, it was not done. Okay. So he says that will his clipping of the hair be sufficient for him to exit the state of ihram? And if not, that is he considered in the state of ihram and he needs to send someone else, okay, until he is informed that the slaughtering is done? So the question is that clipping done or no? He has to send someone else to make sure, and once he's sure that it was slaughtered, then only he exits the state of ihram. He says no, it is not sufficient. It is not sufficient. The clipping is not sufficient. However, he says it is sufficient that he avoids the prohibitions of ihram when he sends someone else until the time of the slaughtering. Okay, so what is the difference here? So Sayyidi Sistani says you don't have to wait until that person informs you. That person told you, a person, reliable person, promises done, promises fulfilled. So this person said on Tuesday, Dhuhr time, I'll be in Makkah. Maybe he's living in Jeddah or something like that, and I'll do it for you. Don't worry about it. Or he was in Makkah. He's busy on Tuesday, any day. I mean, I'm just giving example. Don't tell me, oh, so he needs to do it Tuesday. No, any day. For example, Tuesday. He gave him a time, a date and a time. So if Tuesday comes, Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah says he can exit the state of ihram. Okay? According to the appointed time given to him by his representative. So he says, ولكن يكفي أن يجتنب عن المحرمات حين إرسال الشخص الآخر إلى الزمان الذي يتوعد معه في الذبح عنه. The time appointed to slaughter given to this HAJJ, sick one, sufficient. After that you can, but I did not get any call. That's fine. Okay. He gave you, he's a reliable person. He gave you, maybe his phone does not work. Maybe it's bad signal, maybe whatsoever. He gave you time. Khalas, that after that time, you can exit the state of ihram. Then he says, even though it is recommended precaution to avoid until the confirmation comes that the sacrifice has been slaughtered. Okay. So he says that, yeah. وإن كان الأحوط, that's أحوط استحبابا, recommended precaution, that he avoids the prohibitions, the prohibitions of ihram until the confirmation comes until the time of confirmation. Okay, so appointment time, time of confirmation. Appointment time, wait until that appointed time comes, then only you exit the state of ihram. Recommended precaution, wait until the time of confirmation. So time of confirmation, time of appointment. I would wait until the time of confirmation. Okay. Question number 5. If a person who's performing Hajj or Umrah, who's supposed to, if a person restrained due to the sickness in Hajj or Umrah, he exits the state of Ihram by sacrificing the animal or and shaving. However, he is in the state of unconsciousness. Okay, so the question is like this. If someone who was restrained due to the sickness, okay, in this case, unconsciousness, his ruling is to send a sacrifice, send someone to do sacrifice on his behalf, and then he shaves his head. So he needs to appoint a representative. But the question says that he's knocked down or knocked out. He's unconscious. So he says, how can he give a representation to slaughter the sacrifice? And he's unconscious. And he's not, if there's no sacrifice, he will not be able to, we will not be able to shave. I mean, what about his intention? I mean, we can shave his head while he's unconscious or clip his hair, but he needs to make an intention, correct? He says, number one, they need to wait until he regains consciousness. But he's not muhrim, so there's no responsibility. He's in a free zone. There's no responsibility on him. He's not going to violate the prohibitions of Ram. You are going to do the violation, and you don't have that responsibility of penalty or something like that. Okay, so therefore, just wait. Okay, until. However, if they needed to cut him open for surgery or something like that, and bleeding and some of the issues, and they need to shave his hair from certain areas of his body from his heart area, chest or something, there's shaving involved, there is this involved, a lot of things are involved. So he says if waiting for was not feasible, then the guardian of that person, and guardian is normally the first degree of inheritors, okay, father or the one of the sons, so who is considered his guardian, taking care of him all the time. So his guardian is going to take, he can perform on his behalf, and there's no problem. Question number 6. He says in the manasik, it is mentioned that the one who's restrained due to the sickness does not uh, the spousal relations does not become halal upon him unless if he performs the tawaf and the sa'i between Safa and Marwa in Hajj or in Umrah. He quotes the sentence from Manasik al-Hajj. Okay. So he needs to do all these things to do the spousal relations. So what is the ruling, he says? Like in Hajj and in Umrah. In Hajj and in Umrah, he can exit the state of Ihram. But the spousal relations, and this is for mahsur, not for masdood. Mahsur is already there, okay, in miqat, and he's entering the state of ihram, or he's muhrim from Jeddah. So he's already, the only thing which prevents him is sickness. And sickness is something shady. It could, okay, it could not. But those authority things, they send you back from the airport, that is total different story. So here, uh, it is mentioned in the book of Manasik of Hajj that the one who's restrained due to the sickness uh, will be prohibited from the women, and he will not exit from that state of ihram unless if he performs the tawaf and sa'i between Safa and Marwa in Hajj and in Umrah. The question is, what is the ruling if someone was not able to go by himself? Okay. Will the women be prohibited upon him forever? He says if he is not able to perform the a'mal of tawaf, sa'i, tawaf in Hajj or in Umrah by himself, then he can appoint a representative to do on his behalf. Okay. Yeah. So he can appoint a representative for Hajj or for Umrah so that the spousal relation becomes halal on him. Now remember, this mahsur is, remember that in previous ruling, for mahsur, if he arrives in Makkah and he is taken back to his hometown, then the representative does. Okay. So like previous ruling, what? Let me just go back to previous ruling. Yeah, the one who was unconscious. So his guardian does it. Question number 4. Yeah, it was question number 3. Remember that intermittent thing? He does something, Naib does something. He does something, Naib does something. So this was during the Umrah. And this question is focusing on the spousal relations. So number 1 is that he needs to send the sacrifice. Okay, this is someone who did not enter Makkah or enter Makkah for Hajj and Umrah. This was before entering. So if before entering Makkah, okay, he needs to send the sacrifice, send somebody to do sacrifice, and then he shaves it. All these ruling from number 1, the rulings in which, excuse me, we had the niyabat. Ruling number 1, niyabat. He entered Makkah. Okay. He entered Makkah and he became sick. He could not perform. What? Niyabat. Question number 2 was, he entered the state of ihram and entered Makkah, but before the tawaf. So again, what should he do? Before the tawaf, you have sent back to his hometown. So niyabat or mahsur? They say mahsur. Because you have 2 options, either niyabat, either mahsur. So if niyabat can happen, the scenarios of niyabat, that's fine. Otherwise, it's mahsur. Mahsur means send sacrifice in Makkah and shave. Nothing, no tawaf, no nothing at all. So that is the rule of mahsur. But now the questions are breaking certain scenarios of somebody who's restrained. He's in Makkah, but not restrained from performing certain amal. Or he's in Makkah, he could not perform any amal. They sent him back to his hometown. Then that's mahsur. But if he was able to perform in Makkah, okay, then uh, or he was in Makkah, but he was not able to perform, then there is niyabat. So niyabat, if you see the difference between mahsur, sacrifice, and shaving, is when he is he is sick, he was not able to enter Makkah, or he entered Makkah and he became sick and went. But those who perform the tawaf, they have niyabat. Okay, so like this one during the tawaf of Umrah. Question number 3. Question number 4. Was he is in his hometown. Okay, so he had to send sacrifice. Question number 5. Again, knocked out, unconscious, as is absent. Okay, so so this person is knocked out. He's supposed to be maybe in his hometown. It doesn't say Makkah, Medina. Somebody who's mahsur, that means did not enter. So his guardian will do it. Question number 6 is a bit different. So a person is mahsur and he is in Makkah. Okay, he's in Makkah, but he will not be he cannot exit the state of ihram unless if the tawaf is done of Hajj or Umrah. The question is, whoever is in such condition, okay, he cannot perform the amal by himself. Will the women be prohibited upon him? He says if he cannot perform it by himself, then representative for the spousal relations to be halal upon this person. But mahsur doesn't need tawaf and nisa. Remember this. Okay? If someone who's mahsur, he cannot come, he is sent back, he just exits the state of ihram in general, except for the spousal relation. So it is mentioned in the manasik that the spousal relations does not become halal unless these things are performed. Let's say he's not able to go back to Makkah. Okay, then he needs to say he's out from ihram. Everything, he shaved his head, he sacrificed, shaved his head, finish. He doesn't need to do anything else. But what about the spousal relation? He needs to appoint a representative if he cannot go back. He says if he was not able to perform the Hajj and Umrah by himself, then there is the sufficient. It would be sufficient that someone represents on his behalf to perform these a'mal of this is one of the differences between mahsur and masdood. Okay, it is also mentioned, and question number 7 is a follow-up. It has been mentioned in the manasik that the mahsur becomes everything prohibited becomes halal by slaughtering the sacrifice and shaving the head, except for the spousal relations. As for spousal relations, excuse me, he cannot, they do not become halal, permissible, unless the tawaf and sa'i between Safa and Marwa was performed with Hajj and Umrah. So the question is, if he does the tawaf or someone does tawaf on his behalf and he does the sa'i, so does he need tawaf and nisa, or is it obligatory upon him or upon the representative to perform the tawaf and nisa on his behalf, in addition to the tawaf of the Hajj or Umrah. So he says here there are several situations. If he enters the ihram of Umrah Mufrada or ihram of Hajj, he will not be able to exit unless if tawaf he exit the ihram with the sacrifice and shaving. He's restrained. But since he's required tawaf and nisa in Umrah al-Mufrada and or in Hajj, tawaf of Hajj, then tawaf and nisa needs to be done. What about he was restrained in Umrah al-Tamattu, in which there is no tawaf and nisa? So he says in that case, tawaf and nisa will not be needed, but tawaf of Kaaba and sa'i between Safa and Marwa will be needed. Question number 8. So I think now the picture is clear that a person who's mahsur, he exits the state of ihram via sacrifice and shaving or clipping. Done. Everything becomes halal except for the women. So how will he make the women halal? If it was the ihram of Umrah Mufrada, he needs to send someone to do, if he cannot do, send someone to do tawaf. Either he does it or someone else does tawaf, sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and tawaf al-nisa, 2 rakat tawaf al-nisa. This was if Umrah Mufrada. What about the ihram of, what about Umrah Tamattu? Umrah Tamattu doesn't have tawaf al-nisa. So either he or the representative will do tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu, Salat tawaf of Umrah al-Tamattu, and the sa'i between Safa and Marwa. Okay? And done. No need for tawaf al-nisa. What about if it was post-Mina rituals of Makkah, A'mal Makkah in Hajj, ihram of Hajj? He was in Mina, he pelted the shaitan, and or somehow he was not, he entered the state of ihram of Hajj and he got a heart attack, God forbid, or something like that. He was taken back to his hometown. So now sacrifice, shaving makes everything halal except for nisa, spousal relations, for both husband and wife. So there needs to be tawaf of Hajj, Salat tawaf of Hajj, sa'i between Safa and Marwa for Hajj, and tawaf al-nisa and Salat tawaf al-nisa for Hajj. So this is all these questions, they pour into this concept. So now the whole idea is that mahsur, restrained to sickness, requires for spousal relation the manasik of the Makkah. Okay? The way he's supposed to do, the naib has to do. Be it Umrah al-Mufrada, be it Hajj al-Tamattu, be it Umrah al-Tamattu. If someone entered the state of ihram, question number 8, entered the state of ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, hyperbolic shock, or my heart down, lost consciousness, knocked down, unconscious. Now he's in the realm of, his soul is in the realm of spirituality. So what is the responsibility of the guardian? The same thing we mentioned, but it's a bit longer. So let's follow up. This was what ihram? Ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu. Miqat, Masjid al-Shajara, Juhfa, Ta'if, or ihram via Nadhr, Jeddah, or any place before the Miqat via Nadhr. So he says, if the guardian, now the responsibility of the guardian is unconscious, if there is a possibility that he might regain his consciousness and perform the optional Hajj and the stay in Muzdalifah and Arafah and everything, okay, be it all according to the rulings. Then ويدرك بأن يدرك من الوقوفين. So we know that he is going to wake up and perform the stays of Arafat and Muzdalifah. He will be able to stay these two pillars of Hajj, or even Muzdalifah. At least we said Muzdalifah is the most important one. At least if they're not the primary one, the secondary stays. But he is able to perform. Then the guardian will choose a representative for Tawaf, Salat al-Tawaf, and the Sa'i. And then clip a little bit of his hair. So the sick one who is unconscious. So he will be exiting his ihram of Umrat al-Tamattu. So this was number one, ihram of Umrat al-Tamattu. So he knows that he will wake up, regain consciousness, and do the manasik of Hajj. If he's able to do manasik al-Hajj, regaining consciousness, then the representative, he's in the state of ihram. The representative will, the guardian will appoint a representative to perform his tawaf, salat of tawaf of Umrat al-Tamattu and sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and then come to the guy and clip off his hair who's unconscious. So then he will exit the state of ihram. That is Umrat al-Tamattu. What about Hajj? Manasik of Hajj. And on the 8th of the Hajj, he's still unconscious. Remember, there was a possibility, but he's still unconscious. The guardian enters, does the ihram, intention of ihram on his behalf, and performs the labbaik on his behalf, and restrains him from any prohibited, one of the 25 things prohibitions come to him. And he goes with him. He's on stretcher, unconscious, okay? He goes with him to these two places, Mina and Muzdalifah. Poor this guy, may Allah bless him. He must be an amazing son. So let's say he was in Arafah or he was in Muzdalifah. In Arafah, you know, that irfani state and this and that. And that unconscious person, I don't know, he got epiphany, saw in the dream, some spiritual dream. His eyes goes open. Like people, they freak out. What happened? So, or I mean, obviously, he must have like mumble jumble, and then he opened his eye. Where am I? Arafat. Oh, I'm not in the state of ihram. Dad, don't worry, I did the ihram for you. But you need to do now, you need to renew your intention. Okay. So here, he gained his consciousness in one of the, either in Arafat or either in Muzdalifah. So on the basis of obligatory precaution, he needs to renew the intention of ihram by himself. There in Makkah, the son or the guardian did on his behalf, or his father did on his behalf. So guardian could be a father as well. So he does by himself wherever he is, okay, whatever time he is in, and then will he be able to go to so يجدد الإحرام بنفسه إن لم يتمكن الذهاب إلى مكة. That means ihram of Hajj is performed from inside Makkah, but he's outside. He's now in Arafat or Muzdalifah. Can you go back to Makkah and perform the intention? In this condition, oh, we barely brought him on stretcher here and he can barely stand. But if he's able to, he regained consciousness, became like a horse. Alas, go to Makkah, enter the state of ihram for Hajj, and come back to this Mina, Arafat and Muzdalifah. If you miss Arafat, at least catch up Muzdalifah. So if however, is unable to, he must renew the niyat of ihram by himself and perform the labbaik if he is not able to go to Makkah. Okay? He does it from wherever he is. So if he has achieved or performed those 2 stays, Mina or Muzdalifah, Arafat and Muzdalifah, at least Muzdalifah, okay, then his Hajj will be done. So the remaining manasik, he can do it. Mina, pelting the stone, all those things. He can do it on whatever he cannot, all the rules of Na'ib and Tawaf and Sa'i, we have done it before. But he's not mahsur anymore. He was mahsur, regained his consciousness. Okay. So why, so after stoning the shaitan or something like that, or wherever he was, he went back into the state of unconsciousness. Okay. Before performing the amal of Makkah, tawaf, sa'i, tawaf, or those, any other manasiks, stoning the shaitan and whatever. Like he did some or he did not do anything. Regardless, he went back into the unconscious state. So the representative or the guardian will perform it. The guardian will do by himself, or appoint a representative to perform all these things on his behalf. Guardian doesn't need to do. He can appoint a representative. If he regained his consciousness before or during the stay of Arafat and Muzdalifah. At least Muzdalifah, he got his consciousness. If he misses both stays, kiss your Hajj goodbye. Okay. So these stays are very essential for Hajj. Even he took him on the stretcher, but then he was still unconscious. So the moment he regained consciousness, he secured his Hajj. If he would have been unconscious, then his Hajj is invalid the whole time of Arafat and Muzdalifah. So that is very essential, that Arafat and Muzdalifah, at least Muzdalifah. Question number 9. During Umrat al-Tamattu, someone got heart attack, God forbid, he was taken to his family members. So what would be responsibility? If his condition, medical condition, would not allow him to stay in Makkah to perform the manasik, this is Umrat al-Tamattu. That means it's Umrat al-Tamattu, Hajj al-Tamattu. So if his condition would not allow, even by appointing a representative and then performing the ihram of Hajj, and those Arafat and Muzdalifah were not achievable with whatever amount which validates the Hajj, such as Muzdalifah at least, then his ruling will be the restraint due to the sickness. That means sacrifice, shave off, everything halal except the spousal relations. For spousal relations, he or someone else must do those kind of thing. He said, as mentioned in ruling number 446 from the Manasik. Otherwise, if his return to his hometown was because of so there are 2 scenarios. The scenario we mentioned, he was taken, you see, for urji'a ila baladi. So if his health condition does not allow him to stay. But on the other scenario, say the Sistani mentions, his health condition would allow, okay, but he chose not to stay. He chose not to stay. that means your ihram is invalid. Okay, you're supposed to stay. You revoked your ihram. You invalidated your ihram. So, وإلا فإن كان رجوعه إلى بلدي بطلبي. Otherwise, if he was not taken and his health condition would allow, but he said, no, take me back with his option, with his demand, then his ihram will be invalid, even though he would be considered a sinner. So ihram would be invalid and he would be sinner. But what if he didn't want to go back? He was one of those Arfani people. No, let me die in Makkah. Let me. But the family were putting pressure. No, please send him on the first flight back home. We don't want to die in ghurbat and in loneliness and wilderness and in strange land and whatever. Alone, lonely. So, وَأَمَّا مِن دُونِ إِرَادَتِهِ, they did not have, like father said he needs to go back, or the son, and the father was very old and the son is controlling his father's health condition, so he's concerned about him. No, dad, we have to send you back. No, but I need to stay. No, dad, please. I mean, my mom is like worried, and she says, just send your dad back here. I will make him healthy. I have his medicine. So the love, obviously, the spousal love, that's the medicine of every sickness. Husband and wife, they love each other. Nothing gives strength and power and that resilience other than that. And that's the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in spousal relations. وَأَمَّا إِذَا كَانَ رُجُوعُهُ مِن دُونِ إِرَادَتِهِ. However, if he was taken back to his hometown without his willingness and his option or choice, then most probably, most closest to me, there are several opinions. Say this, it says most closest opinion is, which I choose, is that he is going to be considered someone who is masdood, not mahsur, not restrained due to sickness, no, barred. But it's not authority. We did not say authority. That was an example. It could be any reason. It could be husband and wife. The husband says, no, you're going back. You see? So, the things he doesn't want, he wants to be, he says no. So, if the sacrifice, same place, and shaving or clipping. Yeah, we have 3 and we'll be done, inshallah. 3 questions. Question 10. After entering the state of ihram in Masjid al-Shajara, Medina al-Munawwara, Masjid al-Shajara, entered the state of ihram, and he was coming out and he was crossing the road or somewhere, and a car knocked him. God forbid. So, the car did not knock him. من تعرض لحادث الاصطدام بسيارته. He had a car accident, his car, after he entered the state of ihram. So now his car is not functioning. So will he be considered from the one who's restrained due to the sickness? Or is it permissible to take him there by bus, by taxi, by stretcher, whatever? I mean, take him there to Makkah al-Mukarramah and appoints a representative, as long as he is able to so whatever he cannot perform, he can appoint a representative to do the tawaf or sa'i or both. He says, answer, no. You cannot sacrifice. You should not sacrifice. Take him Makkah, khalas. Okay, take him Makkah, and whatever he can perform, should perform. Other than that, he can appoint a representative. So no rule of mahsur at all. Question number 11. Someone completed the amal of Umrah مفردة. Okay. So أعمال المفردة عمرة المفردة done. No, sorry, this is question number 11. Yeah. أعمال في عمرة التمتع. That means Hajj is still remaining. And encountered an accident. So عمرة التمتع complete. And he encountered an accident. And he was taken, transferred from Mecca. He did Amal Umrah Tamattu. He's in Mecca now. Accident happened. So he was taken where? In a hospital out of Mecca. And the doctor said, you should not come back to Mecca. Okay, for Hajj. Your condition does not allow you to do Hajj. Obviously, reliable doctor in this and that. Maybe broken leg, broken thing, something. I mean, maybe some edema, some bleeding, some kind of serious issue does not allow him to do stay over in Mina and Muzdalifah, Arafat, perform the Amal of Makkah. So what would be his responsibility if he was able to come, sneak in Makkah or sneak in Arafat and Muzdalifah? Okay, but the doctor said, don't come back to Makkah. Okay. So he was restrained from entering Makkah. He did Umrah al-Tamattu. So now we're talking about Ihram of Hajj al-Tamattu. So he says that no problem. Let him enter the state of Ihram wherever he is and just go Arafat. Don't come to Makkah. Okay, finish. And complete the Manasik al-Hajj. Question number 12. Question number 12 should not be here because it doesn't have anything to do with Mahsur and Masdood. It's about recommended ghusl. Okay. So he says that recommendation of ghusl, of visiting Kaaba, is inclusive. استحباب غسل يشمل is inclusive to the ghusl of entrance of Masjid al-Haram. Okay. In a way that he can see the Kaaba, or he needs another specific action to do to perform the ghusl of the ziyarat, ghusl of ziyarat of Tawaf al-Bayt. Okay, ghusl of visiting the Kaaba. He says on the basis of obligatory precaution, one should limit it to around the Kaaba. So the ghusl and go and doing ziyarat, ghusl of ziyarat of Kaaba. Yes, ghusl of ziyarat of Kaaba means ghusl of tawaf of Kaaba, not ziyarat. So the question is, can I do the ghusl of ziyarat of Kaaba? Okay, just to see the Kaaba. Will that be sufficient? That means what he needs to do, he needs to offer Salat al-Dhuhr al-Asr, for example, in that ghusl, because it takes the place of wudu. So he said no. On the basis of obligatory precaution, it's limited to the tawaf around the Kaaba. So it's ghusl ziyarat. So there is this specific tawaf, the intention of tawaf around the Kaaba. Ghusl of ziyarah is intended for the tawaf around the Kaaba. So it says, does the istihbab, recommendation of ghusl, of ziyarat of Kaaba, visiting of Kaaba, is inclusive to whatever to the ghusl, to the dukhul of Masjid al-Haram, just for looking at the Kaaba. So this ghusl is mustahab. Just enter Masjid al-Haram and look at the Kaaba. Is that ziyarat enough, or it needs specific action such as tawaf? He says, no, limit it. This ghusl is not just to look at the Kaaba. This ghusl is for the tawaf. And final question, if a muhrim, a person who stayed instead of ihram for Umrah al-Tamattu, after entering Makkah, discovered that he has pandemic, COVID, okay? He has corona. So the police were somehow, whoever enters Makkah, they were doing this nasal thing or whatever, tests of corona, examination of corona, okay, examining so whatever they do, they found out that this has corona. So the authorities said, no, you are not going to enter, okay, the Kaaba. He's in Makkah, so he cannot perform the manasik of Umrah al-Tamattu. Remember, he's come for Hajj, and this is just the first part, Umrah al-Tamattu. And they quarantine him in a hotel for 2 weeks. So he's in the state of Ihram, quarantined for 2 weeks in a hotel. But he can't go anywhere. There are police guarding the rooms. So, or whatever the government decides, the period of quarantine. And this period will, if this quarantine period will be long, that it exceeds the time of Manasik al-Hajj. That means Manasik, the 9th Dhul-Hajj, 10th Dhul-Hajj gone. So since the authorities prevented him, is he considered masdood, barred, okay, from performing the manasik? Or is he considered mahsur because he's afraid on himself? He has a fear on himself that if he performs the amal by himself, then he might get some disease or corona or something like that. So the answer, if he was able to perform the tawaf and sa'i, however, he is not able to perform the hajj due to his sickness because he's COVID. And maybe he does and it increases, he may die. So he needs to isolate himself. More COVID will impound him. Okay, he might lose his life or become people, they died. So so there is masdood, government stopping. Mahsur, no, fear of getting more corona and death. So what does mahsur applies because he's barred, or is masdood allowed that even if they tell him to go, he will not go? So if he was able to perform the tawaf and salat and sa'i, if he was able to perform the tawaf and the salat and the sa'i, but he is not, because he's in the state of ihram, he is not able to perform the hajj, okay, due to his sickness. So he can convert his Umrah al-Tamattu to Umrah Mufrada. So after he's out from his quarantine or after he's cured from the COVID, he can perform the Tawaf of Umrah al-Mufrada, the 2 rakat Tawaf of Umrah al-Mufrada, and sa'i between Safa and Marwa for Umrah al-Mufrada, clip of the hair to exit the state of Ihram of Umrah al-Mufrada, and perform the Tawaf al-Nisa of Umrah al-Mufrada. Okay, so this is what however, this is after the quarantine ends. However, if the quarantine ends, but the authorities, they say you don't enter Haram, direct Jeddah, get your flight out. He says, I'm still in Ihram. Okay, so now comes the part where the authorities prevent you, then you are barred. Then you will perform the duties of the one who's barred. What about? So we got it. After the quarantine, you are able to perform the amal of Umrah al-Mufrada. Convert your ihram to Umrah al-Mufrada. No Umrah tamattu, no Hajj, because Hajj is gone. If the authorities say, no, don't you enter Makkah. So what he will do is, he will be considered masdood, barred. Okay? Uh, can't enter Masjid al-Haram, barred from it. However, if his corona was severe, okay, his COVID was severe, you know, like sometimes people, they cannot walk. Those, some of the people, they said, oh my, we saw nightmare. We could not stand up from our bed. You see? So if he could not perform the tawaf and the sa'i, even if the authorities, they say, no, you are free. You can go to the haram and do your tawaf. You're free from corona. But corona drains the energy of a person. So after recovering from COVID, many of our beloved ones, they were like almost dead on the bed. So they could not move and they could barely. So the effects of corona, post-corona, were also worse. So, so here, the authority said, you can go now, alhamdulillah, you are clean. But the post-corona effects were severe. So this responsibility would be to appoint a representative to perform, so convert to Umrah Mufrada. Okay, you will not be mahsur, restrained due to the sickness, because you are in Makkah already. Okay, and you can stay in Makkah until these amal, you are not sent back home. So you perform whatever you can, and whatever you cannot, the representative would perform. So he says, convert to Umrah Mufrada. Umrah Tamattu changes, flips to Umrah Mufrada, and then appoint a representative. Whatever you can do, perform, whatever not, and appoint a representative. Let's say if he was not able to appoint the representative, then only his responsibility will be mahsur. That means slaughter, a sacrifice in Makkah, and shave off your head. But for spousal relation, anyways, you will have to appoint a representative. It's better just let the representative make you halal completely, rather than, because you are not going to do anything. Everything is going to be done by the representative. Here, we are done totally with the Q&As of Manasik al-Hajj. There are a few small things left, like, for example, rules of purification, rules of salah, those two things. We may cover it, okay? And so we are here about 188 sessions. So we may do those, so we can complete it 200 sessions of Manasik al-Hajj. So hopefully you benefited, inshallah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us success to do the other chapters of fiqh, inshallah. But this was most crucial because I saw with my own eyes our beloved HAJJ, they were doing lots of mistakes and errors in there. And I was just praying, Ya Allah, accept from everybody. You are most merciful. You said, I know the rules are tough, but Allah is most. But if somebody is intentionally ignorant, doesn't learn, then obviously he's like deliberately doing the mistake. So he intentionally did not. He was busy shopping. So basically, for being with us, and hopefully see you all in Hajj by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and by the blessings of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam. Ameen Rabbil Alameen, wa akhiru da'wan alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi tayyibin at-tahirin, wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fi amanillah.